One Ram 1500 transmission will run 300,000 miles without a rebuild. Another, with the exact same name, ended up on the worst list. 7 transmissions have been bolted behind Ram gas engines over 3 decades. 3 of them are liabilities. 4 will outlast the truck. The same transmission appears on both sides of that list. Here's how that's possible, and where yours falls. Starting with the worst. And the first transmission on this list, the 46RE 4-speed automatic, was available in the Ram 1500 from 1996 through 2003. It sat behind the 3.9-liter V6, the 5.2-liter Magnum, and the 5.9-liter Magnum. 4 speeds, hydraulic foundation with an electronic governor bolted on top. Chrysler's way of modernizing an older design without redesigning it. The result was a transmission caught between 2 eras. Too electronic to be simple, too basic to be reliable. The overdrive clutch pack is where the 46RE earns its spot on this list. Under towing load, the overdrive clutches burn prematurely, sometimes well under 100,000 miles. The front clutch inner seal is the root cause in many failures. When that seal leaks, pressure drops in 3rd and 4th gear. You feel it as a slip, then a flare between shifts, then nothing. The transmission won't engage at all. The governor solenoid has its own failure mode. Over time, the solenoid develops magnetism internally, which prevents it from operating correctly. When it fails, you lose the 3/4 shift, or the shift becomes so harsh it feels like someone rear-ended you. Slipping in reverse becomes chronic on high-mileage units. A complete rebuild on the 46RE runs $2,500 to $3,500. Almost every original 46RE has been rebuilt or replaced at least once in its lifetime. Dealerships knew the failure rate was high enough that many of them replaced the 46RE with the 47RE, the heavy-duty transmission from the larger truck lineup, as a permanent fix on 1,500 trucks. When the dealer's own solution is to put a different transmission in your truck, the original was never good enough. The 545RFE 5-speed automatic was supposed to fix what the 46RE couldn't. Available from 2003 through approximately 2010, it had 5 speeds with a second prime mode that effectively gave it a 6th ratio, fully electronic, multi-mode shift logic. The promise was better fuel economy and smoother cruising. The reality was a valve body that couldn't keep up with its own complexity. The signature failure of the 545RFE is the valve body checkball. Inside the valve body, small checkballs control fluid routing between passages. Over time, the material breaks down. When a checkball degrades, fluid bypasses where it shouldn't. The result is harsh shifting, specifically on the 3/4 and 4/5 transitions. You feel a hard slam instead of a smooth engagement. Every harsh shift is a clutch pack absorbing impact it wasn't designed to take. Over tens of thousands of miles, those impacts add up to glazed friction surfaces and burned fluid. The underdrive clutch is another casualty. A degraded checkball allows the underdrive clutch to engage when it should be released. That unintended engagement creates bind in the gear train, generates heat, and accelerates clutch wear. 2 clutch packs dying simultaneously because one checkball lost its seal. Chrysler issued TSB 2101-012 documenting a clunk noise during the shift from drive to neutral, a symptom many owners and mechanics dismissed as normal behavior. It wasn't. It was the valve body announcing the beginning of a progressive failure. Solenoid pack failures become common between 100,000 and 150,000 miles. Shifts become unpredictable. Pressure loss becomes progressive. Clutch packs slip. Fluid burns. The transmission darkens its own fluid with the debris of its own internal failure. A rebuild runs $3,000 to $4,500. Chrysler continued production for years without a fundamental redesign of the valve body. Remember this transmission, it's coming back later, on the other side of the list. Now here's where this gets personal. Because the next transmission on the worst list isn't some relic from the early 2000s. It's the transmission that came in your Ram 1500 if you bought it between 2012 and 2018. And if you have the 5.7 Hemi, this is what's bolted to the back of it right now. The 65RFE 6-speed automatic is the most infamous transmission in Ram 1500 history. 6 speeds, fully electronic. And if you look at the internal hardware, you'll recognize something. It's the same basic architecture as the 545 RFE that was already on the worst list. Chrysler took the 545, added a gear ratio, updated the software, and called it a new product. The problems didn't go away. They multiplied. The input shaft is the 65 RFE's most fundamental weakness. It's made from a grade of steel that was never engineered for serious torque or sustained towing stress. Under repeated towing cycles, the input shaft fatigues. Fatigue leads to play. Play leads to vibration. And vibration is the beginning of the end for every component connected to it. The low/reverse solenoid assembly fails frequently enough that Chrysler issued TSB 2100417, specifically documenting extreme difficulty or complete inability to engage drive or reverse. Read that again. A transmission that cannot engage drive or reverse. Owners report pulling the shifter into drive and getting nothing. No engagement, no response, no movement. On a truck that might have 100,000 miles or less, the P0750 shift solenoid code is one of the most commonly reported fault codes on Ram forums. Owners replace the solenoid, the code comes back, they replace it again. It returns within a few thousand miles. The solenoid isn't the root cause. It's a symptom of a system that can't maintain consistent pressure. You can replace the solenoid 5 times. The pressure loss triggering the code is still there, still degrading the clutch packs, still burning the fluid. The Sprag assembly, the one-way clutch that controls directional engagement, can fail without warning. One day, reverse works. The next day, it doesn't. When the Sprag fails, reverse is gone. The only fix is a complete teardown, a full disassembly of the transmission to access and replace the Sprag. A repair that typically costs as much as a full rebuild because you're already that deep inside the unit. 7 years of production, 2012 through 2018. Minimal aftermarket support. Chrysler eventually replaced it with the ZF8HP when warranty claims became too expensive to ignore. That's the corporate version of admitting a product failed. They didn't recall it, they didn't redesign it, they quietly stopped using it and moved on. A rebuild runs $3,000 to $5,500. And a significant percentage of you watching right now have this exact transmission under your truck. The 65 RFE is the reason many Rams from this generation get traded in before 200,000 miles. Not because the Hemi quit, because the transmission quit first. If that changes how you think about what's under your truck, hit subscribe and drop a comment below telling me which transmission you're running. That's how I know what to cover next. Now the list flips, and the first transmission on the best side is the oldest one here, which tells you everything about what makes a transmission survive. The A518, also known as the 46RH, was available in the Ram 1500 from 1994 through 1995. 4 speeds. The specification that separates it from the 46RE that replaced it, fully hydraulic control. No electronic governor, no solenoids, no electronic shift management of any kind. The 46RH is governed entirely by hydraulic pressure, centrifugal force, and a manual throttle valve cable. When the engine makes torque, hydraulic pressure rises. When vehicle speed increases, the governor spins faster. Those two physical forces determine when the transmission shifts. No computer involved, no software calibration, no electronic component that can fail and leave you stranded. That mechanical simplicity is its greatest strength. No solenoid packs to replace at 100,000 miles. No wiring harnesses to corrode and throw phantom fault codes. No communication errors between modules. A competent owner with hand tools and a shop manual can diagnose, adjust, and rebuild a 46RH in a driveway without a scan tool, without dealer software, and without any reprogramming after the work is done. The 46RH has real weaknesses. The overdrive band requires adjustment around 150,000 miles. Seals wear and require replacement on the same schedule as any hydraulic transmission from this era. But these are maintenance items, predictable, documented, and cheap. Not design failures. Many original 46RH transmissions are still running today in mid-90s Ram trucks with 200,000 miles or more on the odometer. No rebuild, no replacement. The transmission that came before the electronic era is outlasting the transmissions that followed it by decades. Simplicity doesn't look impressive on a spec sheet, but it looks very impressive at 200,000 miles when everything electronic has already been rebuilt twice. The 8 horsepower 45 is the smaller sibling of the ZF 8-speed family, paired exclusively with the 3.6-liter Pentastar 5.6 starting in 2013. Same engineering DNA as the larger 8 horsepower 70. Same architecture, same mechatronic shift control, but built for a lower torque application. And that difference in operating stress changes everything about its long-term reliability. The Pentastar 5.6 makes 269 pound-feet of torque. The 8 horsepower 45 is rated well above that. In daily operation, this transmission works comfortably within its design envelope, never pushed to its limits, never generating the heat spikes that cause premature wear. A transmission that never touches its ceiling lives a fundamentally different life than one operating near the edge every time a trailer is attached. Produced by Chrysler under ZF license but built to ZF specifications, the 8 horsepower 45 has reported significantly fewer problems than the 8 HP 70 on Hemi applications. Part of that is the lower operating stress. Part of it is the Pentastar owner profile. Daily drivers and light towing users who aren't subjecting the drivetrain to repeated heavy-duty cycles. The optimal operating temperature is 176 to 196 degrees Fahrenheit. Within that window, the fluid maintains its viscosity, the clutch packs engage cleanly, and the mechatronic unit operates with precision. The real service interval, per ZF, the company that designed it, is 60,000 to 75,000 miles under normal conditions. Not Chrysler's lifetime fill language, which protects the warranty period and nothing beyond it. ZF says service it. Listen to ZF. For the Pentastar owner who respects that interval, the 8 horsepower 45 will outlast the engine it's connected to. Now here's the moment that proves the title. The next transmission on the best list is one you already saw on the worst list. Same name, same 545 RFE stamped on the case. Same internal architecture, but a completely different outcome, and the reason comes down to two things that cost almost nothing. The 545 RFE variants produced after approximately 2005 received improved checkball materials in the valve body. Software updates refined the shift calibration. Not a complete redesign, but enough to significantly extend valve body life under normal operating conditions. But the hardware improvements alone aren't what move it from worst to best. What moves it is service. Specifically, the service Chrysler tells you isn't necessary. The 545 RFE uses Mopar A TF+4. That is the correct and only acceptable fluid, not ZF Lifeguard 8. That is for the 8-speed. Putting Lifeguard 8 in a 545 RFE will cause severe shift problems. Mopar A TF+4. And if you change that fluid every 30,000 to 40,000 miles, drain and fill, not a flush, with a new filter, the 545 RFE transforms from a liability into a legitimate long-distance transmission. At those intervals, the fluid is replaced before it degrades past the point of losing its friction modifiers. The filter catches particulate before it circulates through the valve body passages. The checkball seats stay clean. The solenoid pack operates in fluid that maintains its viscosity. Every weakness that defined the 545 RFE on the worst list, harsh shifts, pressure loss, solenoid failure, progressive clutch wear, is directly linked to fluid that was left in the transmission too long. With proper service, the 545 RFE can reach 250,000 miles without a rebuild. It's mechanically simpler than the 8-speed. It doesn't require special programming after fluid service. It's solid for daily driving and moderate towing when maintained correctly. This is the entry that proves the central truth of this entire video. Same transmission, same name, same hardware. The difference between worst and best is service. The service Chrysler calls lifetime and hopes you never perform. Lifetime means the life of the warranty, not the life of your truck. Owners who don't know that pay $3,000 to $4,500 for a rebuild on a transmission that needed $200 in fluid and a $40 filter. The last transmission on this list is the one from the title, the one that will survive 300,000 miles. It's not a hydraulic relic from the 90s. It's not a simple V6 application cruising under its limits. It's the most sophisticated automatic transmission ever installed in a half-ton truck. And it earned the top spot by surviving its own growing pains. The ZF8 HP70 has been available in the Ram 1500 behind the 5.7 Hemi since 2013. 8 speeds, a compact mechatronic unit that integrates the valve body and electronic control module into a single housing. Torque capacity up to 516 pound-feet. This is the same transmission platform used by BMW, Jaguar, Aston Martin, and Rolls-Royce. Not a truck transmission borrowed from a car, a world-class automatic adapted for truck duty. The early years showed exactly where the adaptation needed refinement. Between 2013 and 2017, the 8 HP70 on-ram applications had real issues. The A clutch pressure plate showed premature wear under heavy towing loads. Software calibration produced shift hesitation and torque converter shudder within the first 50,000 miles. These weren't isolated complaints. They were pattern failures documented across forums, dealer service records, and multiple TSBs. But here's what separates ZF from every transmission manufacturer that came before it in Ram trucks. ZF fixed the problems. The A clutch was redesigned with revised friction material and updated pressure specifications. The mechatronic calibration was refined to eliminate the conditions that caused torque converter shudder. Software TSB updates were integrated into factory programming. By 2017, the 8 HP70 in the Ram 1500 was a fundamentally different transmission than the one that debuted in 2013. Same case, same gear count, entirely different reliability profile. The post-2017 8 horsepower 70 sits behind the Hemi 5.7, including the e-torque mild hybrid making 395 horsepower. Maximum tow rating 12,750 pounds. This transmission handles that load because it was engineered for it. The correct fluid is ZF Lifeguard 8. The specification is 68-189-25AA. This is non-negotiable. Do not allow anyone, your dealer, your mechanic, your buddy with a lift, to put Mopar A TF Plus 4 in this transmission. A TF Plus 4 is formulated exclusively for the RFE family. In the 8 HP70, it will damage the clutch packs and the mechatronic valve body. These fluids are not interchangeable. Using the wrong one is active destruction of the components that control every shift. Service interval per ZF, 60,000 to 75,000 miles under normal conditions. Earlier, under severe duty, towing, hauling, extreme temperatures. Drain and fill with pan drop and filter replacement, not a flush. The same discipline that moved the 545 RFE from worst to best applied at a higher level to a superior platform. With the correct fluid, the correct interval, and the post-2017 hardware, the ZF8 HP70 is the transmission that reaches 300,000 miles behind a Hemi. 300,000 miles is not optimism, it's the mechanical expectation for the owner who treats the transmission like it matters. 7 transmissions, 3 that will cost you, 4 that will carry you. And the one that survives 300,000 miles is the one getting the least attention from dealers and the most neglect from owners. The best automatic transmission ever installed in a half-ton truck is sitting under Ram 1500s right now, running on fluid that's never been changed, operating past service intervals that ZF published and Chrysler ignored, counting down toward a rebuild that didn't have to happen. The transmission doesn't decide how long it lasts. You do. The distance between a truck that gets traded in at $150,000 and one still shifting cleanly at $300,000 comes down to the same thing it always does: the owner who knew what they had and the one who never bothered to find out.